welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and today we're going to meet the City Attorney. Welcome, Vanessa Valldejuli. How are you?
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. You know, attorneys don't always have the best reputation, but when we need a lawyer, we want a good one. So why does the city need a city attorney?
Well, number one, the city council needs representation, and that's mainly what we do. We represent the city council.
They have a lot of rules and legal things that they have to follow.
Yes, they do. You know, when they need ordinances drafted, they need research done for legal issues that show up. When the city gets sued, we're there.
Which happens, whether it's deserved or not, it happens.
We are there. We're there to serve the city council. We also do serve the city manager and the city departments. What we don't do is we do not represent the citizens themselves. However, the work that we do helps the citizens, at least. I like to think that that's what we are doing.
Well, zoning and codes ordinances do, because people who want to complain about something, there needs to be a concrete definition of what is the acceptable standard, and then there's a basis. Without that, it's a little bit of a free-for-all.
Exactly, and we keep everything in line because, of course, you know, we are what we call a Dillon's Rule state, which means that we can't do anything that the Virginia legislature has not authorized us to do. And so we keep everything in check. So while people may want certain legislation for certain issues, we have to make sure that those things are authorized in our state code. So we're sort of the keepers of the code too.
Yes, I remember sometimes people come to council and ask for something that we don't have the authority, we as a city don't have the authority to give them, and you have to explain that.
Exactly. It's the hardest thing because, you know, they say that they've read something that came out of Nevada or California or Tennessee or, you know, any other state, and unfortunately most of those states are what we call the home rule state, which means they just have a lot more that they can do. That
they can do anything except what they're told not to. Versus, you know, it's a mother may I versus
exactly.
I'm going to ask permission. Don't ask permission and see what happens.
That's a good layman's way to put it. So we're kind of strapped as to or limited as to what we can and can't do. And sometimes, you know, it's really hard to explain that to the general public. And it's not that we don't want to be helpful. It's just we have our hands tied sometimes, and even trying to explain it to departments.
Right, because we always want stuff you can't do for us.
It is, and we want to serve, and we want to do what's best for the citizens and for the city, but we have to do it within the confines of the laws that we're given. So it's a little tightrope that that all of us city attorneys walk every day.
What made you, first of all, let's start, what made you want to be a lawyer? What made you go into the law?
Well, when I was 10 years old, I was an unusual child, I announced to my parents that I wanted to be a lawyer and that I wanted to I wanted to go more the international route. So I studied a lot of foreign languages. I'm fluent in 2 and conversational in 2 others.
Wow.
So I try to follow that, but of course, you know, fate gives you other things to do. You can plan all you did. I did go to law school at William and Mary, graduated with Cynthia Hudson, the former city attorney, and Molly Ward, our former mayor.
Yeah, that was quite a class, wasn't it?
The class of '87, actually, if you look around Virginia local government positions, there's a lot of class of '87 people in local and state government. Of course, William and Mary produces the citizen lawyer, which is what we like to call ourselves.
Well, and that's an interesting thing because the predominant view of lawyers would be the trial lawyer, you know, that's what's on TV usually, or private practice where I'm just going to assume here you could be making a little bit more money.
You can, but it is choosing whether to go into government work versus private practice is really just a matter of choice. It's a matter of, in some cases, quality of life. The work is just as hard. We have trial lawyers in the city attorney's office, as well as what we call transactional lawyers, the ones that do acquisitions and sales and
land
leases.
sales
But we
or write ordinances and all that. Yeah.
we have the same types of lawyers that a law firm has, and so I kind of like to think of the city attorney's office as the law firm for the city. And so yes, we will never make as much money as our counterparts outside, but we have a really good client, and that is the city of Hampton. And so I feel good when I go home at night that I have served the city, I've served the taxpayers. We have become more efficient since I took over as city attorney, and so I feel good about that. Now, I do have private practice experience too.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I was going to say. So your career, let's go through. After you graduated from William and Mary Law School, where did you go?
I went with a very large law firm in Charleston, West Virginia. And you probably want to think, why would I do that? Well, in '87, female lawyers were growing in law firms, but this particular law firm had a lot of women partners, and that told me that they promoted their women. And so I went with that law firm, and I had a wonderful experience with them. Unfortunately, my father became ill, and I needed to come back to Virginia, and so then I went with a smaller law firm in Virginia Beach, and then 2 years later, the opportunity was given to me to go with the city attorney's office in Virginia Beach. I was there for 13 and a half years. I did planning, zoning, environmental, real estate, and economic development. I also did all of the contracts for the city of Virginia Beach. And then I got another opportunity to come here to Hampton to do economic development and real estate work. And I thought Hampton was just ripe for good economic development, and I wanted to be a part of it. So I made the decision to come to Hampton in 2005.
You gave me the best economic development lesson I've ever had when we were sitting at a meeting, and I don't know if I asked or if there was an article in the paper we were reacting to, but it was someone saying, why would the city sell land at less than what it's appraised for an economic development project? You cut right to the core of that.
Well, number one, you want to control the land so that you can get the type of development that you want. And the leverage that you have is because all developers are looking for some type of incentive. The pie is only but so big. And we have competitors both on the peninsula, on the south side, Richmond, and outside of Virginia.
Right.
So we buy the land, we control the land, and we leverage the purchase price as our way of saying, give us what we want, give us the type of development that we need. So
because if that type of development was going to happen anyway, we wouldn't have to. But what you might get instead is, strip shopping centers everywhere.
You could get a lot of things when you don't control the land. You can control the uses on the land, the type of development that you want, the quality of the development that you want. And so there is a give and take. And I can tell you that every jurisdiction around here has basically done the same thing. We're not in the real estate business to make money. From the moment that we purchase land,
exactly. People don't get that.
No, we lose money because we have to demolish buildings so that we can clear the land and have it ready for the developers.
Because we don't have a lot of open land.
No, we don't. Hampton is basically fully developed, so we are basically in the redevelopment business. So he who controls the land controls the development, and so by doing strategic acquisitions, strategic developments, it helps incite, it helps enhance the surrounding development.
Yeah, it makes the Hampton that we want for the future.
Exactly.
As opposed to the one that makes a quicker buck.
Absolutely.
We can't allow that to happen everywhere.
No, and we will, if we have that kind of mentality, we are going to lose out to the south side jurisdictions, to the peninsula, to outside of Virginia.
All the places we compete with, around Charlotte, around Raleigh, there's a lot of potential in Hampton if we can help. We have to help.
We are. So that's basically why we do it.
So that is a big chunk of your experience.
Yeah, a lot of my experiences is in economic development, but also with my planning and zoning background, I have the whole picture, because you just don't go in and develop. There have to be zoning has to be in place. We have to make sure that stormwater management regulations are in place. There's subdivision law, site plan law. There's so much that goes into a development. They're not simple. They're always a little bit complicated. So with my background, I hope that that I can be an asset to the city and give them the breadth of my experience and help them with developments that are going to be good for the city and its citizens and its visitors as well.
Right. They're a big part of our economic picture.
Absolutely.
And hopefully a bigger part in the future.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of exciting things that are going to be going on in Hampton that I think are going to be an enhancement for Hampton and will attract visitors to Hampton. We are going to slowly become a great destination to come. We have Fort Monroe. And the contraband slave experience there that really a lot of people just don't know about. It's a very overshadowed part of history that we need to emphasize.
Well, okay, so you have this breadth of experience, and that's one of the things I've noticed too. You've expanded your office, and some people might say, oh, that's costing taxpayers money, but a lot of things that in the past the city has used consultants or hourly or outside firms, which is pretty pricey, you've brought in-house.
We have, and we didn't expand in that we added positions. We restructured the office. We restructured it into two big teams, the litigation team, and then we have the development finance team. They're headed up by senior deputies. And the attorneys under those deputies, we have a team approach rather than a silo approach. And what we've been able to do is to bring more of the litigation in-house rather than hiring lawyers.
Love the other lawyers in Hampton, but if we can save the taxpayers money,
we do.
that's
And the only time that we will hire an outside law firm is if we have a conflict, and that happens sometimes. Or, for instance, we had a situation where we were sued in North Carolina, and while some of us are licensed in other jurisdictions, we didn't have anybody in North Carolina, so we would have to hire outside counsel. Or if we have a particular area of expertise that is not possessed and we need it for that project, it is in the long run it is more efficient to just hire an outside counsel for that particular issue. But we are now doing all of the work of the Economic Development Authority. We have brought in the work from the treasurer on judicial and non-judicial tax sales. So all of that has helped. I can tell you that in the year, just this past fiscal year, we saved the city almost $2.2 million in outside counsel fees
Okay, that's 2 cents on the real estate rate. I know that off the top of my head. That is a big deal.
That's 10 lawyers, including me, because I am a working lawyer. I'm not just an administrator. So us 10 little lawyers with based on our average hourly rate, which is very low, and you can see our end of the year report. It's on online on the website if anybody wants to take a look at it. So I feel like we've done the city a great service by taking on all of this work in-house. All of the attorneys work very hard, as well as our paralegals.
All right, now I'm going to ask you about Vanessa as a person. What do you do when you're not the lawyer? What are your hobbies? I know some of the answers. I'm going to say them if you don't. But
well, I love to dance. You know that.
I know.
I love movies. So I go to the...
You're wearing your Mockingjay.
Yes. I read a lot of adolescent literature.
Oh my gosh, I got into it with my kids, and now they're off. I still read some of it.
I did that because I have nieces and nephews who are about that age,
generation.
And so reading things like Twilight, Hunger Games, Divergent,
the John Green stuff,
Maze Runner, yes, The Fault in Our Stars. So it kind of helped me to bond with them because I could talk their talk, and actually, It's pretty good. It's pretty good literature. Easy
it's
reading,
different,
but love it. So I do a lot of that, and I work a lot with my church and church groups. I head up a young adults group for my church, and so
You sing?
yes, I'm a cantor in a Catholic church, and I'm in their choir as well. So I have a few hobbies. I can't say that I exercise a lot, but the dancing helps
The
a little
dancing
bit.
helps. I know
Yes.
that's my favorite exercise
Yes.
too. We'll go out again sometime.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much, Vanessa. And thank you. I hope you've learned a little bit about what the city attorney and her team do. Great asset to the city of Hampton and working to save you money. Thanks for watching.